Welcome to this FlowSavvy tutorial. In this video, I'll show you how to set up your FlowSavvy as well as some tips and tricks for different use cases. FlowSavvy is an auto scheduling calendar, which means you can just give it your tasks and it'll create your entire schedule for you. Plus, when plans inevitably change or you miss any tasks, FlowSavvy will reschedule for you so you don't have to drag and drop to reschedule everything manually. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is connect your other calendars so FlowSavvy can schedule around your other events. So I'll go to the top left, I'll click Settings and Calendars, and then you can add a Google, Outlook, or iCloud. I'll go ahead and add my Google account. And then this is going to sync in your calendars. It's going to select the first one for you automatically. Make sure to select any calendars that you want FlowSavvy to know about. It's not going to sync tasks to your calendar by default. So if you want FlowSavvy to sync tasks to your Google, Outlook, or iCloud, go ahead and select the calendar for that down here. Okay, let's add our first auto-scheduled task. So first one I'm going to do is I have to update my website. Let's just use most of the defaults for this first one. I'm going to leave auto schedule turned on because I want FlowSavvy to find the best time for me. And yeah, I need an hour during my personal hours, normal priority, due by tomorrow. So I'll click add and cool. It put it after lunch today because I have nothing in my schedule right now. So that's an auto scheduled task and that's going to move around as my schedule changes. For example, if an appointment comes up right here, that task is going to move around it. And that's a really simple example, but you can imagine if I had a packed calendar in here, it's just going to reschedule everything automatically as plans change, saving me a lot of time. All right, let's add our next task. I'm going to add some focus time, and I'll go through some of the other options here. So at the top, you've got event and task. An event is just a regular event in your calendar, just like your other events from Google, Outlook, and iCloud. It's not necessarily something you would put on a to-do list or mark complete. But a task is something you would put on a to-do list and you can mark it complete. And in FlowSavvy, tasks are the things you can auto schedule. So we'll leave this one as a task for now. And then you've got your lists here. These show up in the left sidebar over here. These are just a nice way to organize your tasks. You can organize by projects, by different clients, different areas of life, any way you want. Auto schedule, I'll leave that one on. And then I'm going to say I actually need 3 hours for this one during my personal hours. You can change this to personal hours, work hours, any of these other hours here, or you can do your own custom hours. I highly recommend setting this up when you create your account. So I'll click manage hours, and then the personal hours default to 8 to 10. We're going to change that. I want to do that after work. You can also just type in here 6 p.m. And then I'm going to use this copy button right here to copy that over to my other weekdays. And I'll leave the weekends as all day long. Down at the bottom, you have date overrides, and this is how you would change your hours for a specific day. So I'll click save, and then my work hours, oh, you can see that task just updated in the background, so now it's in my personal hours. This is actually a work task though, so let me change that. You can change the hours right here to work hours, or what you can do is create another list. So I'll create a work list, say this is purple, and I want the default hours for this list to be my work hours. So now any tasks I add to this list will get automatically put in my work hours. So let me go back to the schedule and let's change that to my work list. And you can see that changes it to my work hours. Let's click save. Perfect. I also want that list to be my default. So I'll go into settings, events and tasks, and then I'll change task list to work. So now when I add focus time, it's already in my work list in my work hours. So let's do 3 hours and I'll say this is due by today. Great. For the priority levels right here, if you put something at a higher priority level, FlowSavvy is going to try and prioritize that and schedule it first. So we'll leave that as normal for now. And then due by today, let's click more options and then can be started now. I actually don't want to do this until 4 p.m. today. So I'm going to type in can be started 4 p.m. and click add. Okay, so that is actually scheduling it tomorrow and it's notifying me that it's going to miss its deadline. It's not scheduling because there's no consecutive 3-hour block between when I said it could be started 4 and the end of my work hours, which is 5 p.m. So that's why it's putting it tomorrow. What I want to do here is click on this and turn on Splittable. That's going to allow FlowSavvy to split this up into multiple chunks in the gaps in my calendar. So I'll save that and we should see it schedule. Perfect. So it's using that time now. It's still missing its deadline, which is today. So that's why it's still warning me about that. But now as my plans change, it's going to keep splitting that around my other events. So this right here doesn't make much sense though, because my appointment has some travel time on it. So that's the next feature I wanted to show you. I'll click on appointment and go to more options. You can add this on both events and tasks. I'm going to click add buffer/travel time. 15 minutes is perfect for me. So I'm going to click save and you'll see now FlowSavvy is respecting that travel time, giving me some time to get to my appointment. So as this moves around, it's going to keep giving me that travel time. All right, let's add my next task. I have to fix a bug. So I'll say that is going to take about 2 hours and yeah, normal priority, due by today. I want to make sure this is coming before updating the website though. So for that, I'll need to use dependencies. I'll click on more options and then down here, add task dependency. I'll click must be done before, update the website. And you can search for one here as well. I'll click update website, click add. Now, fix bug is always going to be coming in my schedule before update website. Normally, FlowSavvy is going to use your due dates and priorities to prioritize your schedule, but those are more of soft constraints. So if you have something that has a strict order, that's when you would want to use task dependencies. I'll give you an example of that. If I move my lunch so that there's 1 hour before and 2 hours after, normally updating the website could fit in there, but it doesn't because fix bug can't fit there. So it does fix bug first and then tomorrow updating the website. But of course, if I did want fix bug to go in that gap, I can just turn on the splittable feature. The next feature I want to show you is the colors. If you scroll down to the bottom, you have the color here and you can see it's set to smart color coding. That just means tasks are going to be colored either green, orange, or red, depending on how close they're scheduled to their deadline. For example, here you can see an orange task. That means this is scheduled on the day of its due date. Same thing with this. This one is due that day. Red means the task is scheduled to be finished after its deadline. Like this focus time is due today, but it's not being finished until tomorrow. And then green would mean something has plenty of time before its due date. So let's say finish report due in, let's give it plenty of time. So let's say a couple days out. That schedules it now. Due date is a couple days out, so it's green, has plenty of time. Some people prefer to have their own color coding systems though. So if that's you, you're gonna wanna go into settings, events and tasks, and then for task color, you'll click use list color. And now you can see all of those are purple because they're in my work list. Personally, I like the smart color coding though, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back on. This just gives me a really nice way to get a quick glance at my calendar and know what's going to miss its deadline, what's getting close, and basically if I'm overcommitted or not. All right, let's add some repeating tasks. Repeating tasks are super powerful in FlowSavvy because you can just set them up one time and it'll keep finding time in your schedule every day, week, month, year, whatever. It's just going to keep finding time for these things that are important to you. The first one I'm going to do is I want to read for 30 minutes every day. So I'll click more options. Does not repeat. I'll click daily, click add, and perfect. Okay, it's found time every day for me to read, and that's going to shift around as it needs to be rescheduled. For example, if this meeting runs over a little bit, it's going to reschedule my read to after the meeting. You might have noticed over here on the weekend, it says ignored in the header, and that's actually this read task. It's saying it's ignored because I clicked daily for this task. So technically one occurrence is due on Saturday and one is due on Sunday, but my work hours don't include the weekend. So it's ignoring them so that I don't have 3 the next Monday. So the auto ignore feature is really nice because if you're going to be out for vacation or if you're sick or something, it's not going to allow your repeating tasks to stack up on the day you're back. If you do want those to stack up though, you can easily just click that and turn off auto ignore for that task. All right, let's add my next task. I want to do a weekly task on the weekend. So let's say mow the lawn. I'm going to change this to my personal list. And remember, that's going to change automatically to be in my personal hours. I'll say this takes about 2 hours. It's going to be due. I'll say the first one is due on Sunday because that's the end of the weekend. And then I'll do more options, repeats weekly. And then you'll see this option right here just changed. Instead of saying can be started now, it says each occurrence can be started the day of its due date, which is Sunday. So that's how I would make something due every week at any time on Sunday. But for this one, it can be done anytime during the weekend. So I'm going to click this and I'll say 2 days before the due date, because that would be Friday. Click done. And let's click add there. Perfect. So now it's scheduling some time on Saturday. You can actually see the balancing coming into play here because it knows Friday is a little bit more busy. So it puts it on Saturday where I have almost nothing. Now, another really common thing people want to do is work out 3 times a week, any day of the week. So here's how you do that in FlowSavvy. You'll click the plus button, say workout. This is a personal task. And then the first one is going to be due, we'll make it due on Tuesday. You'll see why in a second. And then I'll click more options, repeats. I'm going to go into custom and we're going to spread these out during the week. So one's going to be due on Tuesday, one's going to be due on Thursday, and one is going to be due on Saturday. And now I want to click each occurrence can be started 1 day before its due date. That means one is going to be scheduled sometime between Monday and Tuesday. Another is going to be scheduled sometime between Wednesday and Thursday, and another one between Friday and Saturday. And I'll just have Sunday as a rest day. So I'll click done, add. Okay, perfect. Put it in my personal hours. I got one on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if something comes up on one of these days, it'll shift it to the other day. So that's how you make your workouts flexible throughout the week. All right, those are the basics of setting up FlowSavvy, but I wanted to give you some extra tips for different use cases. So the first one is some people like putting every individual task in FlowSavvy, kind of like what I've done here. I have read, fix bug, finish report, but some people prefer to just do bigger blocks for categories of tasks. For example, I can do admin and let's say 2 hours a day. I'll do more options, repeat every weekday. And then in the notes down here, I can use the checklist feature to do my subtasks here. So let's say now I can answer my emails in this block. I can follow up with clients, things like that. And when I add this to my schedule, now when it's ignored today because I've already packed today with so much stuff, but I'm fine with skipping that for today. When I get to this block tomorrow at 2:30, I can just click on that and go through my subtasks down here in the notes. The next big difference in use cases is some people have a lot of deadlines, which is kind of what I'm doing here, but other people don't really have deadlines and it's just a big queue of tasks always coming. So if your tasks don't have deadlines, I'll show you what that looks like. I'll click on focus time and I'll change the due date to not have a due date. Click save. And I'll do that for all of my tasks. So I'll click read and I'll click do. Oh, so this one is a repeating task. So it has to have a due date because the due date is what we're repeating. So I'll skip that one. Same thing for fix bug, update website. I'll change that one to be no due date. Click save. I'll add another one. I'll do finish report. Let's say it's going to take me 3 hours and there's really no due date. I'll just click add. And okay, so that is scheduling it next week because it doesn't really have a deadline. See, in this case, you might not want FlowSavvy to be balancing your tasks out. So it might work better for you to go into settings, general, and for workload distribution, instead of balance, let's try front loading that. Click save. And then now you can see it's going to put things earlier in the week. And that usually just works better if your work is more of like a constant queue without due dates. So most of these tasks we've been adding are really small tasks, but I wanted to show you what happens when you add a really big task, like a big project or something. So I'll add something like work on project. I think this is going to take me around 20 hours. So I'll put 20 hours in there and it's due in, let's say 2 weeks. So the end of next week. I'll click add. Oh, and I forgot to turn on Splittable. I like having that on by default. You can change that in settings if you want, but I'm going to turn Splittable on there since there's no 20-hour consecutive gap in my schedule. Perfect. Now it's scheduling it out throughout my week. And I'm going to go back into settings and turn balancing back on for this so that it schedules that a little bit more realistically, spreads that out into next week. Perfect. So I'm still getting really big chunks in my calendar. So like this is 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. I don't want to work for 4 hours at a time. I more want it to do like 2 hours every day. So in that case, instead of doing one 20-hour task, I'll click on that and I'm going to do a repeating 2-hour task. So I'll click 2 hours. I'll say the first one is due tomorrow since I already have so much going on today. And let's say repeats daily. And then, oh, actually, I'm going to do custom. And I'll say ends repeat after 10 occurrences. So now 10 occurrences times 2 hours each, that's going to be 20 hours total. Perfect. That's a lot more manageable. All right, the last tip I wanted to give is if you want to block out a full day, maybe you're going to be out of office or you're going to take a vacation for a couple days, you could go in here to your settings, into your scheduling hours and change the scheduling hours, add a date override for all of those dates. But if you have a lot of scheduling hours, that can take a lot of time. So an easy way to do this is to just click on the calendar and add, let's say I'll be out of the office. I'm going to make this an all-day event. And then in more options, I'll turn busy on. That means tasks won't be able to be scheduled during that. Click add. And now you can see it's blocking out my schedule for that entire day. That's what these colored diagonal lines mean. So now that everything is set up, we have a fully automatic calendar that's going to automatically reschedule itself as plans change. So like if a meeting changes or if I miss some tasks, it's just going to reschedule everything for me automatically. Also, if I have some tasks from earlier today that I didn't get to, or maybe from yesterday, that is what the Recalculate button is for. I can just click that to force a recalculation, and it will reschedule all those things from the past into the rest of my week. So that's why when I click it now, it doesn't do anything because my schedule is already current. It's already optimized. So that is FlowSavvy. If this was helpful for you, please let us know in the comments down below. If you have any questions, you can drop those in the comments as well, or you can reach us through the in-app help center and we'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching.